Hey folks, I'm Fundy.
And I'm Austin.
And this is
The Dyson Quill,
the web series where we give you, the viewers, our views, opinions, topics, and discussions about everything role-playing. Today, we are... Nice roll. A lot of oomph behind that. I like it. Anyway, today, we are wrapping up our core 4. We're talking classes, people. Alright, we've done fighter, we've done cleric, we've done rogue. Now, last and certainly not least, he's old or he's young, depending upon you. He carries around a big stick, talks way too much, reads a whole bunch of books because he is the nerd among nerds. We are talking, of course, about the wizard! So, what is a wizard?
A wizard casts spells.
A wizard is a student and apprentice and master of the arcane arts. We're talking the forces of nature and life and death, the very things hidden in dusty tomes and old archives. A wizard is a man who has spent his life, or woman, what have you, who has spent his or her life reading these books and mastering these incantations and these spells. And now he or she is ready to embark out upon a journey and do whatever they do, but in their own particular, fun, awesome, arcane way. So, let's now get down to brass tacks. Alright, so being a wizard, we gotta talk numbers.
Numbers. Stats. Your 2 preferred stats will be 1, intelligence. A higher intelligence gives you the ability to get and learn more spells and also increases the maximum number of spells you can cast per day. And as a wizard, you rely, of course, heavily on the ability to cast spells to be effective. Next comes dexterity. As a wizard, you're not wearing a whole lot of armor because it gets in your way, your hand gestures, your talking, and, just general movement in general, which is why you don't wear armor. Dexterity makes your AC higher, makes you harder to hit, makes you live longer. Going into pros and cons, what are the positive things about being a wizard?
Well, the positive things about being a wizard, Austin, is obviously number 1 is lots of options. We're talking a butt ton of options, alright? As a wizard, you have mastered the arcane arts. You have all of this power, infinite power at your fingertips, depending upon what schools of magic you choose. Alright? You can be a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. Alright, to where your very presence instills fear amongst your enemies. Or, you could be a little more clandestine, a little more in the background. It's really up to you. Another pro, when we're talking about these schools, is you have the potential to do lots and lots and lots of damage. But remember, you're a little weak sauce, physically. So, kind of like an intricate, sniper rifle. It does buttloads of damage, really far away, but you cough on it and it breaks. The other pro, again going with that versatility, is the ability to manipulate your environment. When we get into the schools and what they do, we're going to get into the ability to actually physically change what is around you. And that, being a wizard, if you practice it enough, and if you look over your spell list, and you kind of plan these things out, you can create a really awesome, unique gaming experience, not just for you, but for the rest of your players. But it's not all great.
Right.
There are some bad things about it.
With the good comes the bad. First, con. You get very, very, very little HP as it is. Your hit dice is based off a 1d4 plus your constitution. So at first level, you'd be lucky if you can get 6 HP in there. Excuse me. Also, you have no armor proficiency unless you pick up a feat. What that means is your AC will naturally be lower than the rest of your parties, which is why you need to get that higher dexterity up in there so you can have a higher AC, making you harder to hit. Last but not least, well, being a cons, still least, you get very, very low skill points. You're not very skill heavy at all. Your intelligence plus your 2 times 4 is how much skill points you get, which is why you want to get a higher intelligence score. Going into the schools of magic.
Alright, so the schools of magic. We've been talking about them a lot so far. Now let's get down to the brass tacks here. Alright, here's where it gets fun. You have 8 schools of magic to choose from, and when you roll up that wizard, you're going to want to choose some specialties. And these are really going to form how you operate within the game, and how you flow along with the party. And so, number 1, top of the list is Abjuration. Now, Abjuration deals with protection, either protection of you, protection of others, it also deals with banishment and things like that. So Abjuration is very good defensively. The next is Conjuration. Now, Conjuration goes from creating physical items out of thin air all the way up to summoning up natural or monstrous companions seemingly out of the ground to help you out, to roll with the party and fight with them, or to also protect you as well. Next, we're going into Divination. Divination is the ability to see things that nobody else really wants you to see, or to hear things that nobody really wants you to hear. Divination is really good if you want to gather a whole bunch of information really fast. Now, Enchantment. Enchantment deals with physical items that are already there and make it better. So you got something that's really boring, like this cup, or, you know, a marker, or, you know, something else, just really boring. And then you make it better by enchanting it. Evocation is the next, and Evocation is what a lot of you guys are going to want to get into. Evocation is your damage-dealing spells. Evocation is what allows you to cast your fireballs, your acid arrows, being able to, you know, you see that guy? Oh, I don't like that guy. I'm going to slap him in the face with a big old ball of fire. You can do that because it's Evocation. It's awesome. Next is Illusion. An illusion is the ability to take things in the world, you know, things that would be seen, and make them not there anymore. Illusion can also be used offensively by distracting enemies and things like that, and allowing your party to get those attacks of opportunity, allowing that rogue that we talked about to get that backstab. Next is Necromancy. And Necromancy is the force and power over life and death, and the ability to manipulate them. Anything from raising an undead companion from the earth and completely freaking out the wedding party, all the way down to something like Ray of Enfeeblement or Chill Touch, which allows you to just sap the constitution out of your opponent, your target. Next, and certainly not least, the last one here, we're talking about Transmutation. Transmutation, all right, is the ability to physically change things around you. I have a nondescript writing utensil. I'm going to use Transmutation, and I'm going to turn it into something awesome! Transmutation, yeah! Alright, so, Transmutation also surrounds the world around you. Not just physical items that you have in your hands, but the ground, the walls, the trees, the ability to mold them into your very liking, and able to help the party. So, that's the schools in a nutshell, and when you get to the spell list, it gets a lot cooler. I recommend you take a look at it. But certain spells require certain things in order to perform them. And with that, we get into
components. Basically, there are 3 types of spells that mentioned in the handbook. All the spells can be found between pages 181 and 191. This is a brief overview. There will be your verbal spells. Basically, you utter some sort of keyword that will then trigger the spell. Sort of like how in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf the Grey, all of his spells are for the most part spoken. Example from the book would be light. To cast light, you simply say light, and whatever object is enchanted on will cast a sphere of light around itself. Next will be somatic. Somatic gestures are everything hand movement or just body gesture in general. Kind of like how in the Last Airbenders, all the benders have to do that martial art type movement with their bodies, which then would trigger whatever reaction with the nature. Last one will be your material components. To be able to cast a material component, you need to have that certain item in your inventory, which again, lists are on the book. But for an example, mage armor. To be able to cast mage armor, you need to have a piece of tan leather hide in your inventory. Depending on the DM, the actual physical description of what happens differs. Me, I like to say you throw up the piece of tan leather, as it comes down, it kind of disappears and becomes a little force field around you, giving you higher AC. Like we said, as a wizard, you need that higher AC. Though that's a very brief overview of the components. To wrap it all up, the role of the wizard. What is the role of the wizard, Fundy? Enlighten the audience.
The role of the wizard is as versatile as the study of the schools of magic you have devoted your life to. And so the role of the wizard is based upon what you know. Alright, so let's say that the schools you want is abjuration and conjuration. So abjuration, you're using your spells to protect yourself, to protect your party members, as well as summoning beings from other planes of existence and things like that to roll forth and assist your party and whatnot. Let's say you choose enchantment and evocation. So enchantment, you're helping out the party and things like that by, you know, making that fighter's sword enchanted, letting it do much more damage. And also evocation, the ability to again slap people in the face with spells that do a butt ton of damage, you know, like a Western magical arcane spell slinger. Or you could do, you know, transmutation and another school, and transmutation would allow you, again, to mold the battlefield environment in a way that it would give an advantage to the party. And so, really, the role of the wizard is up to you, based upon what you choose as your specializations. But remember, you're not that strong. And so you want to kind of hang out in the back. You don't really want to be in the front punching people in the face. There's other people who can do that job. And really, that kind of wraps it up for today.
All right, and thanks for joining us again on Dice and Quill. This will be the end of our Core 4 Classes series. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. And as well, if you'd like to support us, like and subscribe and share our videos. And we also have our Facebook group, the D20 and Friends group, which is growing a lot. We're also live streaming every Saturday a session and campaign written by Fundy here. So make sure you tune in on that as well. And once again, I'm Austin.
And I'm Fundy.
This is
the Dice and Quill.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye-bye. Hey, folks! Hi, how you doing? I'm Fundy, the Sauces. Dice and Quill.
Cut.
Alright.
Stop, Fundy!
No.
Cut!
No cut. No cut. This is life.
It's a dry one.
We do this real. Alright? Real world. Fate root. Last pro that I would give out is the ability to turn a phone on silent when we are trying to film.
Now we're going to cover the 8 schools of magic.
8 schools of magic for everyone not being uppity!
Not uppity! Oh!
That's going in the bloopers.
Oh!
That's going in there.
You're on your own for the rest.
That's going in there.
Everyone loves the smell of their own
8
brand.
schools of magic, Fundy!
The 8 schools of magic is... I killed the cameraman! Woo!